Yes, people, welcome back to the YAHYAH. And on today's episode, we always have to preview the Manchester United versus West Ham game. Now, before we get into that, I just want you to take a nice look at the beautiful island of Antigua as usual. We are here at Fort James. So we are at a fort. There's cannons and stuff down here. This was actually used for defense, as you can tell. I'm at one of the lookout spots. So we're going to keep walking around here and previewing the game as we have a little tour as well. So, United versus West Ham. An encounter that I'm actually looking forward to. Because one, Nuno Espirito Santo is one of my favorite managers. But two, I want to see how United plays against a team that is in the bottom half of the table, that is struggling for points. Now, we can talk about Tottenham and say, yeah, that was Tottenham, they're struggling, but Tottenham is a kind of a conundrum, yeah? Where Tottenham has the quality to compete at a high level, no doubt, with their players that they have, but they're just not clicking on all cylinders. And that is sad to see, but that's football. That is the job. That is why you have great players, great coaches. That is why you can see Michael Carrick coming to a Manchester United in a struggling time, or for us struggling to get the next win, and see him now have 4 wins on a row, and that young man probably can't wait for tomorrow in order to get a proper haircut. Now, I'm also wondering what he's going to get. Is he going to get a fade? Is he going to get a mohawk? Is he going to get a mullet? You know, what is in the plans for this young man's haircut? Who is going to cut his hair? Is he going to cut his hair at the barbershop at Manchester United? You let me know what y'all think's going to happen in the comments below. But yeah, United versus West Ham is going to be a very interesting game. You know, I don't know if you realize, but Somerville is in really good form. Bowen is in really good form. Callum Wilson is in really good form. Souček is in really good form. And so do we have players in really good form. Ahmad, Mbeumo, Bruno Fernandes, Cunha. All these guys are actually in really good form. And it's amazing to see that we can actually have players who have now the platform to go and be really and show their quality. You know, when you look at the season, sometimes you have to think, why is it such a bittersweet feeling? You know, why do I feel like, as much as I feel like we're doing better, I feel like we could have been doing even much better if one, Ruben Amorim wasn't so stubborn. And I wouldn't call it stubborn, no. I'd call it adaptable, flexible, versatile. These small metrics he failed to hit. And it's sad because it did not need to get to that point where he got fired. He was just being stubborn. Because as tactically astute and versatile I think Michael Carrick is, I also do think that what he is doing isn't rocket science. You know, your back 4 shifts, when one goes up, you turn into a back 3. That's basic football. When your midfielders need the strength, and when your midfielders need coverage, you have a middle 3. When your defense needs coverage, you have 3 midfielders in front of them. And when your strikers lose the press, you have 3 midfielders in the middle of the park that can aid in the pressure. So my question is, why did this man have to be so stubborn, yeah, in creating this team to be successful? Because I swear, I don't think Carrick has done much outside of the small tweaks he's made to say, okay, United will be successful, or needs to be successful, or there's only one way for us to be successful, and we have to play this way, and if we don't play this way, there is no way we can be successful, and if we do play this way, we can be successful. And it's just like I'm still trying to figure out why Amarin just couldn't make those small changes. But looking at the game and looking at us going forward, there's some changes that also excite me with Michael Carrick. The intricacy of the passing, the cutting of the lines, the free flowing and flexibility, the versatility, the adaptability of his football. You know, we press high sometimes, we play in a low block sometimes, we play in a mid-low block sometimes, you know, and you've seen all of that with Carrick in 4 games. Now imagine his flexibility and tactical adaptability and versatility after 20 games. That is what I want to see. After 10 games, is Manchester United still able to be successful? Are we still able to sustain that level of quality and pressure? Are we still able to go on to build a foundation that no matter who plays now, our football can be similar? It can be free-flowing. Because we haven't seen much changes to our starting lineup. And we haven't seen much changes in terms of how we attack. We've always attacked free-flowing and in transition. So even if we've scored different type of goals and we've played teams who have been in a low block, who have pressed us high, who have been in a mid-low block, we still need to be able to play and have a platform for our players, whoever comes in, to be able to be as good as whoever's playing in the position that they have replaced. So I think that all these things is the next step for Manchester United. Now, let's talk about this Kobbie Mainoo situation. Okay, everyone's talking about Kobbie and he is the big player, and I just want us to remember that Kobbie Mainoo was a part of Erik ten Hag's team. Kobbie Mainoo was a part of England's team. Kobbie Mainoo was a part of Amarin's team. And he's won 1 trophy. He's been to 3 finals. It's not bad for a youngster, but the hype we have behind Mainoo, we need to calm it down. Now, let me say for this reason. Kobbie Mainoo has improved as a footballer more than he did on the Erik ten Hag, on the Amarin, on the Southgate. He improved more on the Amarin than he did on the Ten Hag and he did on the Southgate. Now everyone's gonna say, yeah, but Amarin never played him, and that is why he improved. Because every day he woke up and realized, I am not the star anymore. I am not the main player anymore. I am not the individual who everyone's hyping up anymore. And the fact that he had to learn humility, the fact that he had to become humble, the fact that he needed to work on his game and aspects of his game actually improved Mainoo to levels in which we never even thought was possible. He added so many things to his game, and he's added so many small metrics that has made him a better player. He runs more, he chases back more, he covers more yards, he's more involved in the game in the defensive and the offensive side. He's just not touching the ball anymore. Before, he just used to get a touch on the ball or turn or have moments. But now, consistently, we see him throughout the game. Now, that is a massive improvement. That is what a midfielder should be. You know, and yeah, we talk about getting an Elliot Anderson. Yeah, we talk about getting a Carlos Baleba. But no one ever said to get those players to replace Kobbie Mainoo. I don't remember having any conversation or listening to any pundit or anyone, even Amarin, saying we're buying a midfielder to replace Kobbie Mainoo. Because if Amarin didn't like Mainoo, like Garnacho, he would have been gone. What Amarin wanted to do is create a superstar. Superstars can't be created by giving them the bread in their hand all the time. That's what happened to Kylian Mbappe. That's what happened to Marcus Rashford. That's what happened to a lot of the players at Manchester United, young players who have, and he was right when he spoke about the entitlement. When he spoke about some things, he was actually right, Amorim. And as much as I was Amorim out at first, then I was Amorim in. Well, I wasn't Amorim out. I was just like, why would you fire a coach who won you 2 trophies for a coach you're not sure of? And was I wrong? No, I wasn't. Ten Hag was in a better place than Amorim would ever be. And the quality of players Ten Hag wanted, if we gave him those players, we would have had one of the best teams in Europe right now. So we can't hate. We can't really look and say, yeah, we're looking in the past now when we're supposed to be previewing this Manchester United versus West Ham game. But, you know, just to have a little chat about this situation with Kobbie Mainoo, it opens up a lot, and which is why I think I'm going to actually have to do a video on Amorim and the Mainoo situation in depth, because I think a lot of people want to hear what I think about the whole situation. So I'm actually going to be dropping a video, maybe today or tomorrow, just about that situation, because I feel y'all need to understand that there are some things that a coach can do that will improve a footballer. To the outside world, it may not look that way, but we as footballers have all struggled and understand. Those are some of the best moments in our career when we look back at it. And I hope Mainoo can do that, because he has improved. But, in other words now, let's get into the finer details of this thing. How are we going to beat West Ham? Tactically, I think we have to approach the game pressing West Ham high, putting them under so much pressure that it actually forces them to not be able to perform or even create or build a rhythm. Now we actually going to their home. So we're going to be away again. And I just think not only is the quick turnover of the game important for us to make a few subs, I do think this is a game where we see a Sesko start with a Cunha and a Brian Mbeumo. I do think this is a game where we see maybe we see Emmanuel Ugarte next to Kobbie Mainoo. I think this is a game where there's a possibility we see we might see a change in the left back or right back position with a Dallo and a Nose. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Now my prediction score is United to win 3-0. Keep a clean sheet again. Harry Maguire to score a header. Sesko to score. And I think Bruno Fernandes gets another result, another goal or assist out there. But yes, people, it's been your boy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Keep hitting the bell for notifications. Hope you enjoyed your little tour of Fort James. Have a good time. Ciao.